Welcome to my retro games series. I am Hominid Digital. Today we will be discussing, you may have already guessed it, Quake 64, one of the contenders for darkest game, both literally and figuratively, on the N64. In this series, I like to read passages from the book The Unofficial N64, a visual compendium. A gothic first-person shooter infused with Lovecraftian horror might not seem like a natural fit for a console that many saw as the family-friendly one. Quake nevertheless brought the Quake experience to the Nintendo 64, albeit with a few sacrifices to cram it all inside the cartridge. While Quake was largely a port of the original on PC, the developers were forced to scrap a half dozen levels due to space limitations. Many of Quake's maps are also less detailed than in the computer game, and there's no cooperative multiplayer mode. Its competitive multiplayer is always a touch anemic, only offering two-player split-screen deathmatches with a jittery frame rate. For all that Quake didn't have, however, it still managed to deliver a thrilling and challenging single-player FPS campaign. Many critics noted that the N64's visuals were actually better than the graphics in the vanilla version of Quake on PC. The Nintendo 64's lighting was a particular highlight, helping to enhance the mood of the game's grim environments. 6 unique controller configurations provide plenty of options to help make up for the lack of traditional mouse and keyboard. Quake was generally well regarded upon its release. Well enough, in fact, that it would be re-released as DLC for 2021's Quake Remaster. First released in 1998 by Midway and id Software. Quake was just such a fun experience for me. It was very, the atmosphere was great. Like, you really felt the grit and the scariness to it. And the Nine Inch Nails soundtrack and sound effects really like helped enhance it. It felt very industrial and evil. I remember when started playing it, I didn't have a memory pack. As you know, there's some of the games you could save onto the cartridge, and I think my parents at the time were like, okay, whatever add-ons, periphery that you need are unnecessary because you already have the console in the game. Why would you need any of this other stuff? So for the most part, I wasn't able to save, but they did actually include the optional codes after each level. It was cool that they at least had the option. If you didn't have a memory pack, you could still go to the next level, or you could still, go to wherever you left off as long as you wrote it down. Because we didn't have phones to save it in, didn't have camera phones. So yeah, it's a bit before the time where it was easy to do this stuff. You had to be like writing stuff down, writing down the details of where in the level the secrets were, and or looking it up in like Tips and Tricks magazine. Man, I love Tips and Tricks. That was a great source of information for games like that, and they always had codes. Loved looking up the codes for different games on the N64 because I liked playing games legitimately, but I also loved being able to cheat and do like all kinds of crazy stuff with it. I love that there were like secret paths that you could take, not only like secrets to find, just like Doom, but there were some of the levels actually had like an alternate path or a secret mission, like the underneath. In one of the levels, you have to unlock a portal that's located in this weird kind of secluded area that leads you to a different mission. And yeah, I love stuff like that where it's not all like, oh, you have to go this way. They open up the options for you in Quake, especially for that era, because games had to be pretty replayable. Oh yeah, Quake 64, such a cool game. If you haven't already checked it out, check it out. It's a lot of fun, and apparently there's a DLC for the Quake Remastered, so you can get it from there. And thanks again to Bitmap Books for allowing me to use their passages. It's really cool. There's a whole series of books, not just for the 64. There's ones for older systems. I think there's one coming out that's for indie games. But yeah, check them out if you haven't already. Bitmap Books quake.com. They're really cool. They have really just like excellent, beautifully detailed visual compendiums and lots of cool insight into. And some of the games have like interviews with developers and producers and whoever that was more directly involved or there at the time of the game's development or release. So it's cool to see all that stuff. And as I've said before, they're not sponsoring me. I just think they're really cool, and I think you should check them out. So until the next 64 game, be good to yourself, be good to each other, and have a good day. Bye bye.